Hey, what's up, guys? It's Keisha, baby, and I'm going to do a video in regards to the Brian McKnight fiasco with his children. Oh, this is so messy, like messy. This has been a messy week of investigation for me in regards to the Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez case and Brian McKnight and his children. So I'm just going to give my opinion on, the research that I've done online, and let me know your thoughts, all right? So if you got time for the tea, come holler at me. See you in a bit. Hey everybody, it's Keisha, baby, and if you got time for the tea, come holler at me. See you in a bit. So y'all, black people are in an uproar about Brian McKnight buying his stepdaughter a brand new BMW, okay? And it's nice too. It's about a $45,000 car. It's pretty nice, allegedly. All right, so black people on social media are saying, basically, this is not your daughter. This is not your biological daughter. How dare you buy her a vehicle? What about Brianna McKnight? What about your other two sons? You don't even claim them. If you look at his social media posts, he says father of his new wife's children and a child that has passed, but he does not mention any of his previous biological children on his social media posts when he says the father of, okay? So I was just like doing a little research, and let me just tell you, I'm a Brian McKnight fan, okay? I've been a Brian McKnight fan. I love his music. Man, why people don't make music like that anymore? But I'm gonna just give my 2 cents on it. This is all commentary. This is just my opinion. I think it's a little bit of pettiness on both sides, okay? And let me just first start off by saying Brian McKnight, isn't he a Gemini? Geminis are hard to deal with, okay? So I'm a Brian McKnight fan, but no, I'm not 100% on his side. But as a parent and as a child who grew up where I had to get everything on my own, I may be a little bit biased to him, but okay, let's just jump right into it. So, okay, here is the picture of Brian McKnight, his stepdaughter, and the purchase of the vehicle, okay? So he, did a video in response to the backlash, and I'm going to kind of just paraphrase what he said. He basically states that first and foremost, his sons are 27 and 30 years old. He was like, so because they're grown ass men, it's impossible for them to be abandoned because they're grown. He was like, our relationship is estranged, but I can't abandon a grown man, okay? And he talks about his daughter later on, but let's jump right into what he says in regards to the sons. He says that he's always been there for his children. He's never missed a day of child support. Now, I just want to say paying child support is good. And I'm not saying that he wasn't physically there, but I just don't like it when parents jump off and say, oh, I paid child support as, oh, that made me a good dad. You need to have financial support, emotional support, and physical support in order to be a good parent. I'm not saying he didn't have that, but I just don't like it when people just say, I pay child support, I'm a good dad. No, or a good mom. The parents who have primary custody, they pay child support too because they provide lights, gas, electricity, a roof over their head, clothes, shoes, transportation. Everybody who has a child should be paying child support, okay? You feel me? But he says he gave his kids everything he didn't have, and because of that, they are entitled. There's a lot of that going on these days. Me and my brother have this conversation all the time about how the kids who didn't grow up with the struggle are not turning out to be the best kids. And we grew up with a financial struggle in our household. And in return, I'm kind of watching myself because I do give my kids everything they ask for, but I'm not saying that because they're my children. They're very well behaved too. I don't have any issues with their behavior, them respecting folks, them doing what I say. But, black people are making more money and are more successful as time goes on. And, children are titled, and they're just not, they don't have the values and everything that we grew up with and that we're instilled with. So I'm a bit partial to him on that because I see it for myself, you know. But anyway, he says he stopped giving to his kids when they were 22 and 25. He purchased them an apartment, paid for it for 2 years. He told them at the end of the 2 years that that's going to be it, that they have to figure out something to do. Let me interject. As soon as I turned 18, my parents did not help me financially once I graduated from high school. Not because they were mean, they just didn't have it. And I don't blame them or knock them for that at all. I love my parents, it's no beef. I got out there and worked a full-time job while I was in college. I finished college. My mom did help me in other ways. They just couldn't help me financially. And I'm doing pretty well now. So, you know, and I'm a female. And I didn't get $1 from my parents once I graduated from high school. And I still finished college, got a degree, worked my butt off, and I'm doing well. So I really, you know, I really don't feel sorry for, like, your dad cut you off at 22 and 25 and was paying for your rent and everything. Like, you should have been figuring something out during that time. So that's why I'm like, it's just hard for me to kind of hear some of this stuff because hey, you know. Anyway, he also says that his new wife helped them to get a job making $18 an hour. But they, of course, you know, she works in the hospital. And we're going to talk about the wife in a little bit because when you're married, typically your income is combined, right? And you know, we're not going to sit here and pretend like Brian McKnight's wife works at McDonald's or she's unemployed. She is a pediatric neurophysiologist. So Brian McKnight's wife is making her own money too. Okay, so we just can't just sit here and assume in regards to the purchase of the car that Brian financed that or paid for that 100% because, you know, Brian, I'm sure he's doing very well for himself, but it looks like he had some tax issues, allegedly. He's been sued several times, you know, I'm just going to say allegedly. And she could be doing better than he is financially. You just never know what people owe, what their debts are. You just don't know people's finances or what's going on. But his wife definitely is making her own money and her own bread and probably could afford to buy that car for her daughter if she didn't even meet Brian. So we can't really just jump to conclusions and assume stuff. But let's see. Okay. So, you know, the wife tried to, the new wife tried to help her stepsons to get jobs at the hospital. However, according to Brian McKnight, allegedly they refused to stop smoking weed, so they couldn't get the job. She couldn't get them on, okay? Brian McKnight also alleges that the son, Brian Jr., broke into his home and put X's on all the eyes of the wedding photos with, you know, Brian and his new wife, and that BJ said that, which is Brian McKnight Jr., that it'll be better for BJ, he'd be better off if his dad was not here versus him being alive. And I'm guessing he's stating, like, I'd get more financial assistance from my dad if maybe do the life insurance than he's giving me now. Brian McKnight also stated that he had bought BJ 3 brand new cars before he was 22 years old, and that it's time for men to be grown men. Okay. I mean, I'm really, so far, I'm just really not at Brian McKnight is a bad dad. I think Brian McKnight is a petty dad, and I'll go into that. But again, your stepmom tried to help you get a job. You didn't want to stop smoking weed. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. He paid for you all's housing up until you were 22 and 25 years old, and y'all still can't get it together financially or figure out something to do to stand on your own 2 feet. Again, I didn't get any help financially after I was 18 years old, and I have a very good relationship with my parents. And it just made me a better person, and it made me not be lazy, and it made me work hard. So really not gonna sit up here and just be like calling these dudes because they could have found something to do. They could have found something to do. Okay. But let me say something about Brian McKnight Jr. Man, I was looking at his Instagram. He's very talented. He has a son, a child. I think that's a boy. Either way, the child is beautiful. I was looking at his Instagram and I was like, oh, I didn't know he never mind. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. But he's very musically inclined and talented like his dad. I was shocked when I kept scrolling and saw he had a kid, because I was like, all right. So Brian then states in regards to the daughter that he got wind. This is from Brian McKnight. This is not from Keisha Baby, okay? Brian McKnight states that he got wind that an older cousin was having sexual relations with his daughter, who was under the age of 18 at the time, and the cousin was older than 18. So Brian McKnight called the state office to report it. He said that nothing happened out of that. He didn't hear back, but the mom blocked him from contact with the daughter once he made that comment. And that Brian McKnight alleges that the daughter posted that her mom only had a child with Brian McKnight for the money in the first place. So I was kind of doing some research in regards to Brianna and her dad, and she sued him for not maintaining life insurance, I guess around the time of 2003. But he did get the life insurance back. He did make her the sole beneficiary of it, and she still sued to get some money. And she also sued him for libel for basically stating, publicly that he heard that his, older cousin was having sexual relations with his daughter. So she did sue him for that. I couldn't really see what the outcome of that lawsuit was, or maybe if it's still ongoing. I don't even know. But let me say this. I did read, and this was from the Cincinnati.com. They kind of broke down the details of the lawsuit, and this was weird to me. Okay, so Brianna's like, Dad, I'm suing you because you're a public figure and you're saying that I'm having sex with a cousin. You're basically saying that I'm doing incest. And so Brian and his attorney was like, and I thought this was weird, they were requesting every detail of every sexual encounter she has ever had. They wanted the time, the place, who it was, what exactly was done, the details. And I was like, hey, if my child sued me for libel or slander because I stated publicly that I heard that, my child was having sexual intercourse with a relative, and I'm trying to defend myself because, no, I really did hear this. I really did get the details. Yeah, I said it publicly, which he shouldn't have said it publicly, though. He shouldn't have said it publicly. That is not our business, and that's still your daughter. You still have to protect her. I don't care what kind of relationship y'all have, because you know what's going to happen next. People are going to find her social media and start talking crap or harassing her, calling her name. It just gets messy, and she still got to live a life. She still has to go to school. He know better than that. That's why I said Brian got some petty ways, okay? He definitely got some petty ways. No way I would have broadcasted that publicly. Now, I would have called, CPS or the police. I would have done that as a parent and probably charged that person up myself. You feel me? Because you're not fixing to touch my child like that. 17, 18, and you a family member. Y'all would have saw me on World Star Hip Hop for something else. I'm going to keep it 100. But no way I would have broadcasted that on social media. No way I would have done that. Even though he didn't say her name or who the relative was, you know you're a public figure. You know how these news media outlets are. You know they gonna, nah, he wrong for that. But, okay, let's say I'm trying to defend my case because I really did hear this and I really do believe it. Yeah, I said it online, okay, that was my bad, but it's true. I would have been having my attorney request some type of proof surrounding the incest, but no way would I be asking. I want to know the gory details of everything you did and with who and why, and if it was it a kiss, was it a fondle, was it a, like, they wanted all the deets. That is weird to me. Okay. I don't know if he did that just to try to humiliate her, just to try to, like, maybe bully her into, like, next time you come for me, I'm gonna have all your stuff out. You know, I don't like it. All right. For him making the post saying that Brian McKnight, the father of and excluding his children, you being petty, Brian. And that's hurtful. Like, I know you feel like your kids are entitled, that they don't respect you, that you probably created monsters, that they are doing everything to try to hurt you, according to what you say, break into your house, destroy things. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's messed up. But I'm not going to ever put a post about somebody else's kids like, oh, these are my 3 kids, and then forget about my biological children. Because at the end of the day, if they are monsters and they are super entitled and they are, allegedly lazy and sorry, and you finally putting your foot down, at the end of the day, you still created those monsters. That's still on you. Like, no, you're not responsible for them financially anymore, because these are grown men. Right? But we still have to love our children, even if you have to love them from a distance. Like, you're still my child. I'm not just going to exclude you and say, these 3 are my kids, but y'all aren't my kids, and do that publicly, because that's hurtful. Like, it's hurtful. So, and maybe because I'm a woman, I'm a little bit more soft, but I'm just not going to do it. No, I don't think he's wrong if he did buy his new stepdaughter a car. And from what he said, he done bought them other kids cars before they grown. He could do what he want to do with his money. It really ain't none of their business. I don't think he's wrong for that. And like I said, his wife got bread. Don't do that. They probably both went in on that car. You never know. You never know who is really bringing in the income in someone's marriage. It may look a certain way. It may not be that way. No, he's not wrong for buying his stepdaughter a car. If I got married, I would want, my husband to love my children as if those are his kids, and so would y'all. You feel me? And like he said, he bought them so many cars and bought them apartments and stuff. What? Y'all get off of that, okay? Now, there's another reason why I said Brian is petty. He posted and this is when he lost his little baby with his new wife. Okay. That's devastating. I think the baby was an infant. That is devastating as a woman to carry children. You love them. As soon as you look at that stick and it says, hey, I'm pregnant, you love, not most women, you automatically love that child. I love my children as soon as I found out they was in my belly, and I mean that. Okay, you develop a relationship. When you be pregnant, you be talking to the baby, singing to the baby. What you doing in there? Why you kick me? You have a relationship. And so when that baby comes to fruition and you hold it and you kiss it on, it's like, man, I've been waiting to see you, and it's gone. Man, we're not gonna get into that. That's devastating. All right. But he says, for the first time in my life, I got to experience what it's like to want to and plan to have a child made from love. Let's read this again. He's saying it's the first time in his life. For the first time in his life, he got to experience what it's like to want to and plan to have a child made from love. Are you saying your children here were accidents, sir? And even though he was separated from us too soon, I wouldn't trade that gift you gave me for anything in the whole world. Our son will always be a part of us and live on in our hearts forever. I've never been prouder in my life than I am right now, being the father to our 3 incredible children. It's your wonderful light that shines on. Brian Petty. Brian Petty. You feel a certain kind of way. I feel like you, in a very silent way, you're trying to really dig it into your kids, really kind of put that dagger in them deep, like on the sly, like on some Gemini shit. You know what I'm saying? Again, Brian, you did create those monsters, so you say, you know, allegedly. But when we do things that God don't like, or we didn't come out the way God didn't want us to come out, he still loves us, and he still gives us grace and mercy, and he still covers and protects us. And we do stuff that it really stinks in his nostrils. So sometimes when we deal with other people, we need to think of it in a way, well, what did I do to make God irritated today, or this year, or the last decade? Yet he's still loving me. I'm not saying he don't love his children, but we're still his. We're still God's kids regardless, right? Those kids are still your kids as well. I'm not saying these kids are grown. I'm not saying you owe them $1. I'm not saying you owe them to be still buying them cars and they 30 years old. Like, what? You supposed to be a man. You feel me? At this point, to me, like, when you're grown, you reach a certain age, you should be gifting back to your parents, as I do. You feel me? Not still like, oh, woe is me, let me have my hand out. No, grow up. I'm not saying he owes them anything financially, but he still owes them love and support. And if they are wayward, just still let them know, hey, I'm your dad. And still chastise them. Hey, son, you mean to pass me? You mean to tell me you gonna pass up a job, a good job with benefits because you don't want to stop smoking weed? Hey, that ain't cool. I work hard. You see, I'm 53. I'm still getting on this stage. I'm still working. You think you don't, you know? But I'm not going to exclude them as if they never existed. And that's what it appears that he's doing to the public. And I understand he may be hurt and he may feel betrayed, but it's looking a little petty right now, Brian. So I'm really not going to say it's one person's fault, the other person's fault. I think all parties have something to do with it as far as ruining the relationship. I think everybody has some responsibility. I'm not completely on Brian's side, and I'm definitely not completely on the kid's side. They do appear off as spoiled little brats. And I guess Brian said, well, hey, y'all do that. I'm going to go do my life over here. But no way would I post things to make it seem like they are no longer a part of me. Sometimes you have to consistently love people back into their place. But you don't owe them your money. They're grown. You know, he don't owe them the money, but they're still your children, Brian. And at the end of the day, however they are, you played a role in that too. So take some responsibility and accountability, but don't make it seem like they don't exist. That's hurtful. Even if the kids are grown, that's still hurtful, all right? So that's all I have to say on it. Please make sure you like my video. Y'all, I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers. Y'all been doing real good because I just kind of started doing my YouTube videos again maybe a couple weeks ago, and I got like 700 something, 760, 780 something. Can y'all please hit the subscribe button, please? Let's see, I did the snake the last time, the robot. I can push it real good. What else y'all want me to do? Please subscribe to my channel. I ain't asking y'all for no dollar. I ain't asking y'all for no money. I'm just asking y'all to hit the subscribe button for me, all right? And if you got time for the tea, come holler at me. See you in a bit. No, I won't. See you later. It's a weekend. Bye. Go have fun.